What's up, kings and queens? I am Divine. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm so grateful that we have a line. Welcome back to the monarchy. Okay, this is going to be basically just me sharing part of my testimony. Okay, I'm gonna do an actual video on my testimony from me being going from being Christian to being Muslim, and then spirituality, African spirituality, and then new. I'm gonna do the whole thing, but this particular video, God just wants me to speak about my encounter with Jesus Christ and the encounter that led up to me, or that was the catalyst, I guess you could say, to me becoming a Christian again after all of my, spiritual journey. So I'm gonna do a testimony of that, but this is just specifically about my encounter with Christ. So I had been in New Age for I don't know, maybe 2 years now, at this point, right? And I was getting little messages or signs, there was little stuff that would happen that would make me feel because this is one thing, right? I want people to understand is that sometimes for some people, they don't know, right? They don't know that what they're doing is witchcraft, or that what they're doing is an idol, right? I know plenty of witches who say that they're Christians, right? And they think that them being a witch, or them being an astrologer, or them being, a tarot reader is fine, even though if you literally read the Bible, it says it's not, right? But some people genuinely, because I genuinely believed that there was nothing wrong with what I was doing. Right, I thought it still meant that I believed in Jesus. I believed in Jesus, but I don't know if I accepted Jesus fully. Of course I didn't, because I probably wouldn't have been doing what I was doing, right? Or the devil wouldn't have been able to have that type of hold over me if I did, right? But I thought I was doing the right thing, where I was like, no, of course people can use this for the wrong reason, but I'm doing it for the right reason, right? I'm helping people. I'm letting people know what's going on with them. I'm helping them with their energy and their spirits. And, I genuinely thought that I was doing the right thing. So, I'm going to get into that, like I said, in my testimony, but basically it led up to a point where I just asked Jesus. Right, I asked God, I said, okay, I keep getting little tugs and pulls, there's little things that's showing up, right? And I'm not a stubborn when it comes to my spirit, right? I'm willing to let go of any belief, any, behavior, anything that's not the truth, right? That's always what I always ask God for, what I always, wanted to seek in my spiritual journey, is that for me to find the truth, right? For me to know the truth, whatever that is. And I was willing to let go, which is why I went through so many different stages in my spiritual journey, right? Because I was willing to let go of something if I figured, if I saw something that wasn't true about it, or if God revealed to me okay, this is not the truth, right? This is not the truth, right? And Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but through me, right? And that's absolutely true, right? So, but again, I'm under this spell, I guess you could say, or under the control of the enemy at this point, because I am allowing perverted versions of, God to be my truth, right? So these false gods, right, to be my truth. So I asked God, right? God has me come to, in this supernatural way, right, to this sort of spiritual retreat. And I didn't even know it was going to be a spiritual retreat. It's actually so crazy, because I'm kind of at the end of this now, and this is the last video that God has had me do while I'm here. So it's just full circle moment. It's so crazy, right? I'm going to tell the story, but God just wants me to, again, tell this specific part, right? So I get here, and it's automatically, it's just so heavy on my spirit, where something's just and these videos start to come up too on my YouTube, where it's why I stopped being a tarot reader, or why I stopped reading tarot cards, or the truth about tarot cards, or things like that, right? And so I'm okay, again, I'm not an ignorant person, one, in terms of well, I'm not willfully ignorant, I'll say that. Well, if I feel God is trying to tell me something, I'm not going to stick to it because oh no, this is what I believe, I've been doing this for how many ever years, no. if I know that something's not the truth, or God is revealing to me that something's not the truth, I will leave it alone, right? So that's exactly what, I started getting all these messages and these signs and stuff. So I just asked God, right? One of the way that I speak to God is through signs, of course, dreams, visions, all this different stuff, right? And one of my things was always like, well, if I have these gifts, why would God give me these gifts, right? If I wasn't supposed to use them, right? But then, again, I was at this kind of like spiritual retreat where it was just me, right? I was meditating and praying, fast, all these different stuff, right? I hadn't started doing this yet, right? That started after I was delivered, but I didn't know that this is why God had me in this secluded place, right? This beautiful place with this beautiful nature, right? I love nature, I love birds, right? God speaks to me through everything, through music, through birds, through all different types of animals, right? I'm Native American, so God really speaks to me through animals as well, right? So I was just talking to God, one day when I first got here, and I was like, well, because I had been watching some of those videos that came up on my feed, and then so I asked that question, and then I heard God say, well, did you ever ask me? Right? God said that. God said, well, did you ever ask me? Did you ever ask me how I wanted you to use those gifts? Or did you just, take it and run with it? Which is absolutely what I did, right? I took it and run with it because I was just so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I can help people with this. I can, blah, 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 right? So that got my attention, right? Undoubtedly. So I then went into, okay, give me a sign, right? So I said to God, my thing is threes, right? If you go read the Bible, the number 3 is used so many times for very important and auspicious reasons, right? So my thing is 3 times next 3 days, right? So I said, God, show me the crown of thorns, right? Show me the crown of thorns. I didn't say, let me meet Jesus. I didn't say I didn't say anything like that. I just said, show me the crown of thorns. That's not something that you're just going to run into, right? So I said, show me the crown of thorns 3 times in the next 3 days. If you want me to stop reading tarot, you want me to leave New Age, you want me to become a Christian and a believer in Christ, a follower of Christ again, right? Because I was raised a Christian, right? I went to a Christian school from middle school to high school. I went to Christian daycare. I went to Christian camp for summer camps. I was raised Christian, right? But when you go to college, and again, I'm going to talk more about this in my testimony, but when you go to college, college is kind of the devil's playground, right? But we're going to get into that later. But so the first day, this is the first day that I said this, right? So then I'm like, boom, okay, I'm going to leave it alone. Because again, it was really pressing on my spirit that this now, this isn't something you should be doing. Like I said before, it was little stuff that would come up, but I just kind of was I had my own reasons where I'm like, no, God gave me this gift and these people don't know what they're talking about, right? But again, it was heavier on my spirit. So I decided to ask God and do the whole give me a sign, right? So the first day, right? So after I say that, I go to take a shower, and I'm a music girl, right? I love music. God speaks to me through music all the time too. So I turn on my music to get in the shower, right? And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kendrick Lamar's new album, but on the album, he's wearing a crown of thorns, right? So I turn on the song and I click shuffle. I turn on my music and I click shuffle. The first song that came up was, I don't even remember the song because I was just so my jaw just dropped when I saw his artwork, right? The artwork for the song. And he had the crown of thorns on. I was like, okay, God, all right. Okay, fair enough. That's one, right? That's one. So then I get in the shower, blah, blah, the next day comes, right? And I'm at my mom's house. I go to my mom's house for, a little family thing. And I go to sleep, right? I go to sleep that night. Or no, actually, I just take a nap. I just lay down and take a nap, right? And again, like I said, God speaks to me through dreams all the time, right? So I take a nap, and in my dream, I don't even know if I could call it a dream because it felt so real. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever had that type of dream where, you know, you think you're using the restroom, so then like in real life you might actually like use the restroom, and then you wake up and you're like, oh man, like because it feels that real, you know what I mean? That's what it felt like. So like it was Jesus, like on the cross, like on Calvary. Like it's like I appeared, but I appeared as if I was the Roman soldier that like pierced Jesus's side. It was like God had me in like in that position, right? And it was like I was there. It was like I was there, and it was hold on, I don't want to get emotional. It was like I was there, okay? And it was Jesus right in front of me, and like his arms were stretched out. His head was kind of like tilted, you know what I mean? Like to the side, like to where the part where he almost yielded his spirit, right? Like right before he says, like, my God, why have you forsaken me? You know what I mean? And then like the Bible says he yields his spirit. It was like, it seemed like it was right before that. So like his head was a little bit tilted, and like he had blood coming down like his face. And it was just so like, it just felt so real. And I felt like I was so right there. And then automatically in the dream, I just started saying, how did I not know? How did I not know? How did I not know, right? And again, like I said, the Roman soldier was the one that was like, or either when he pierced his side or when like an earthquake came or something like that, right? The Roman soldier was the one that was like, oh, that really was, hold on, y'all, my bad. I know I'm getting with my hair. The Roman soldier was the one that was like, this really was the Son of God. Like this really was the Messiah, right? And it was like, I was that person. I was that person that didn't know, right? Like God had me in that position where like I just kept repeating in the dream. I was like, and I was just emotional. I was like, how did I not know? How did I not know? How did I not know, right? And I just kept thinking in my mind, like, while I'm in the dream, right? Again, God knows that I know how to operate in the spirit realm, right? So when you're dreaming, you're in the spirit realm, right? So I'm awake, like, you know, I know how to be awake, but still be in my dream and recognize like what's going on, right? And so I'm just repeating over and over. And in my mind, I'm like, what if this happens when I die? Like, I don't want to die and then get to heaven and like be like, how did I not know like that this was true? Like how did I miss this? Like how did I not know? I just literally kept repeating that. I just kept repeating, how did I not know? Right? So then I woke up and I was just like like, you know, it was like I had a nightmare, but it wasn't a nightmare because it wasn't scary, but I just had an overwhelming sense of guilt and an overwhelming sense of like shame and like ignorance, and just I just felt, and especially just seeing God, like Jesus up there, like seeing him like on the cross, like for me. And I'm like, and I don't even believe this. Like it was, and like he didn't even have to like say anything. It was just, he was there. I saw him as clearly as I see myself right now in this camera. I'm telling you, where it was just so real, right? So I get up and I go like automatically, and I go like to my sister's room, and I tell my sister, and I'm just crying, and I'm just like, how did I not know? Like how did I not? In real life, I'm awake now, right? And I'm just repeating the same thing that I was saying in the dream, because at this point I'm sold. Like I don't even need the third sign anymore, right? I'm like, God, I get it. Like I get it. I hear you. I'm here. Like whatever you need me to do, like I'm gonna do it. Like right? Like I get it. I hear you so clearly. And I was just crying because I'm like, how did I not know? Right? And I'm trying to laugh because I don't want to cry on camera, but it's just like, I was just like, how did I not know? How did I not know? And so that was my encounter with Christ. And the third sign did come right the next day when I woke up, but I don't even think it's important for me to say it. Like it was like on my feed, and it was like a video about something about Jesus, right? Of course. And I don't know, but on the thumbnail or the picture on the video was Jesus with the crown of thorns on his head, right? And it was kind of like the same like scene that I saw in my dream that night. right? But I was with the dream, I was already like, I was okay, boom, this, I'm already sold. Like, I already know what you're, you know what I mean? Like, and again, of course, in the dream, when Jesus was on the cross, he had the crown of thorns on his head. So it was just so overwhelmingly, and it wasn't like God was giving me those feelings like, oh, you should feel guilty or shame. Like, no, it was me. I felt that way, right? If I felt like that Roman soldier who was like, oh, this really is the son of God. Like, we just killed the son of God. Like, we just missed something completely. Like, that's what I felt like. And then I woke up and I just, like I said, I told my sister and I was crying, and I just went and I just started repenting. I was just like, God, oh, please forgive me. Like, I have been lost. I've been in darkness. I've been under this spell of like witchcraft, and I like, just show me what it is you need me to do, right? And so, you know, I'm gonna go more into my process, my spiritual process, and the cleansing and the purifying and the pruning that God like took me through after that moment, you know, and how right when I got back to the spiritual retreat, I threw all of my stuff away. I was like, you know, praying over everything. Like, it was just a completely transformative experience. And this moment right here is even just a full circle moment, because like, this is the end of this spiritual retreat that I didn't even know was going to be a spiritual retreat, right? But like, God just had me come to this place, and I was like, oh, I need to just take a break, go somewhere with like nature, and I can be by myself and stuff like that. And little did I know, like, God was bringing me here to be delivered, right? God was bringing me here so that I could really step into my purpose, so that I could break the spell that was over my life, and that I could really step into my sovereignty, my divinity, and use my gifts in the way that God, you know, deems worthy of, you know, his kingdom, and deems worthy of having glory and honor, right? And having praise to God, right? And to Jesus Christ. So I hope this, I don't know, helps. I hope this heals somebody. I hope this, you know, encourages someone to really go to God about where it is you are right now in your life. If you are unsure, right, about your path, or if you're unsure about how you're using your gifts, right? If you are, you know, a prophetess or a prophet, or you're a seer, or if you are, call yourself a psychic, if you call yourself a, you know, a dream interpreter, or you call, you know, yourself a tarot reader, or anything in that new age, dark, right, the perverted versions, right? Because there's nothing, right? There are seers, there are prophetess, there are, you know, dream interpreters in the Bible, right? But they were using their gifts in the way God deemed acceptable, right? In the way that God wanted them to. They weren't using their gifts in a perverted, you know, way that the enemy had twisted, you know, their minds and had them worshiping different gods, right? That's not how they were using it, right? So I just hope this encourages someone to really ask God, right? Ask God how to be a good steward of your gifts, right? Ask God, how does God want you to use your gifts and your talents, right? Your spiritual abilities, you know, to bring honor and glory to God's name, and to bring more recognition to Jesus Christ and who Jesus Christ is. So I hope this helps. I hope this heals. Don't forget to like, comment. I just do what God tells me to do. Clearly. And I hope other people do what God tells them to do. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the bell button if you want to know when I post more. And I'll be back. Deuces.